And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Hope everybody is doing well. Welcome to the next episode of the Wisdom Transmissions Live. I know it's been a while since I've been on here. Been happy to get back. Been a lot of moving going on. So let me just see if I can change my microphone here. Okay, I'm not too sure. I'm just trying to get onto another microphone, but I don't think it's actually letting me go onto that one. So, okay, well, I guess I'll have to switch to the default for now. I hope you guys can hear me okay. Anyways, what you see behind me right now is my new office. So we're just starting to get settled into the brand new house. It's coming along pretty well. We've had a lot of stuff, so it's taken a bit of time to get everything together. So today is Wisdom Transmissions. Tomorrow is the Signpost Live. So Signpost Live is only on Rumble. So I will be posting a link later on into the posts of YouTube so that you guys can join me tomorrow for the Rumble episode. And of course, it is going to be on my Odyssey channel as well too, but not live, but just an archive of it. Okay, so hope you guys are all doing well. We're going to be getting into announcements in the halftime period of today's webcast. I see that there's already some people that have been leaving some comments and some questions already, and donation-based questions, so that's great. We're going to be getting into that very shortly too. So today, Adronis is going to be talking about the Earth curriculum. So this is going to be a very, very fascinating topic. After his presentation, we'll be doing announcements, and then after announcements, we'll be getting right into Q&A from all of you. So please a reminder that no personal questions, please, just semi-personal or general in nature. If you do have personal questions, that's where a private session comes in, or you can go to the Adronis Patreon and you can do personal questions there as well too. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get ready and bring Adronis in, and he's going to be talking about the Earth curriculum. It's going to be a very exciting topic, so I'll go ahead and we'll get started. Okay, just maneuver some stuff around here. There we go. All right. Okay, here we go. Soul Star Adronis. Here, at this time, we bid you greetings and thank you very much for the opportunity of this interaction today. I am Adronis of Sirius, sending love, appreciation, and gratitude to all who are tuning in to this broadcast being brought forward through your internet collective consciousness. What we'd like all of you to do at this time is simply allow yourselves to get relaxed, get comfortable, and tune in to the vibrations of Sirius so that you may synchronize, harmonize, and align to all of the information that we have to share. Also understand that all of the information that we shall provide today is simply that of our perspective, our point of view. For all knowledge, all information, all creation itself resides within your very hearts, beings, and souls. Understanding the nature of the Earth curriculum. Well, it is because of the Earth curriculum that you are going through many of the events on your planet that you're going through. When you're looking at the nature of the Earth curriculum, you are, again, at the behest of a collective consciousness. And through that collective consciousness, everything that represents a, shall we say, group nature of experience is going to be portrayed upon this planet and shared with each and every single one of you, be it positive, be it negative, be it anything in regards to what you wish to label. But when you're looking at the nature of the Earth curriculum, The curriculum itself involves a passing grade when you are in harmony with everything that is here on the earth. That's the idea. So you may be very, very unsettled. You may be very upset. You may be very, very frustrated with a great deal of events that are taking place upon your planet. We understand that. But also, what it is important for you to know is that it's simply a matter of you resolving those problems, you resolving those conflicts. You are not the one to go out into the world and feel that you're responsible for 8 billion people and make them all happy. Can't be done. When an event like this takes place, whether it's your own political campaigns, whether it's the threat of war, whether it's the idea of disease or anything of that nature, what does it mean to you? How does it make you feel? What reactions come out of you relating to these events that you're taking part of? Well, this makes me sad. This makes me angry. This makes me fearful. All right. Well, that's the emotional level. Let's take it up to the next level. What is it that traumatizes you in regards to these situations that you are experiencing? Well, when this happens in regards to political campaigns and people fighting for themselves, I must feel that I feel rejected because I don't feel like my opinion matters to many others. I feel rejected because I don't feel like I can voice myself. You see? And that is exactly why the people that you meet act that way. It's the very nature of your own trauma that is enabling people like that to act that way. So, Adronis, are you saying that if I made peace with that feeling of rejection that I have, I'm not going to bring those type of people into my world? Correct. Because you have passed that particular phase of the Earth curriculum. That's why these events happen. And we understand there are many events, but because everything is out in the open now, your Earth is openly sharing these struggles with you. Your culture has evolved itself so that it can tune in to everything that's going on. Everything on your end of the land and everything else that stretches beyond your land is now at your fingertips utilizing your technology. So therefore, what's happening is through this internet digital age that you're a part of, you just seem to find more problems. There's more people voicing their opinion. And it does not matter where you are. Does not matter if you're far up in the north. Does not matter if you're down in the deep south or anywhere. You're able to voice your opinion. You're able to instantly interact with people. And you're now finding that the expansion of events taking place on the planet is now available to billions of people. Whereas when you look back several decades, that was not possible. You had phones, you had television, you had newspaper, you had radio, but it still only gave you a certain extent of the events that were taking place on your planet. You would not know a great deal about what is happening in the East if you are from the West, or vice versa. It was a very, very different experience. Where you are now as part of the digital age, everything's accessible to you because everything's so convenient. But nonetheless, this still applies, relating to not just looking at your emotional level of what makes you angry or sad or fearful, but being able to move up to the next level, to the mental level, to see exactly what these situations are doing to you. You may be living up in the United States, and now you're bothered by something that's happening in Australia, or something that's happening in Germany, or something that's happening in Japan, and so forth. And now you start to get upset about this because, again, you try to voice your opinion, you try to share something, and you feel that people just come up and they just start shooting you down, calling you a fool and calling you this and calling you that, calling you everything under the sun. and you get hit with this immense amount of rejection. Well, again, that rejection is there not because of this situation. That rejection is there because it has grown. There's a seed that begins in your life to where that rejection started. And then over the years, it started to propagate. It started to grow. It started to fester. And then it started to expand in many other different facets of events throughout your life. And the key to helping yourself move into the completion of this phase representing the Earth curriculum is to go back. Is to go back into that time where you felt the rejection was the most intense, where you are just dying for people's approval and you weren't getting it. And once you are able to discover that, we know that Brad refers to this as the red domino. Once you have discovered the red domino, the one domino that is responsible for creating the cascade, knocking down all of these other dominoes, expanding this trauma, you are now able to detect that red domino, and you're now able to bring it into peace. And Brad has recently developed a technique to help with this, referred to as the trauma transcendence technique, where it's simply a matter of going into those younger years and being able to take a hold of that situation, holding it right there, putting it on pause, and being aware of how that situation made you feel. And then being able to step out of that situation, coming back as the witness, holding that ball that contains the situation, and performing Om chanting directly into the heart of the ball, shrinking it down, shrinking it down, shrinking it down, shrinking it down, until you can no longer feel the emotional tug, the traumatic tug that was contained inside that ball. It vanishes. You check inside yourself, you realize that feeling is not there anymore, which means the idea of rejection, of feeling rejected because other people could not accept you, you've made peace with that. You've given it back to spirit. You've given it to the ether. It's no longer within you. You have neutralized that situation. Now you're no longer concerned about the worry of the wanting of approval, of the fear of rejection anymore. You've cleared it out. Now you may notice that it may tangle together with other situations, but nonetheless you do the same. You start to clear away the rejection. You start to clear away situations of abuse. You start to clear away situations of abandonment. You start to clear away situations of addiction and escape. And before you know it, everything within yourself is now in a state of harmony. The magnetism that represents the emotional and mental levels of your being has now started to contract. And that magnetism is now being absorbed back into the natural cosmic prana that you are. This is the idea of making peace with everything on this planet, with every person, with everything, with every event. You can do this. And this is the importance of the Earth curriculum. It's showing you yourself. It's showing you everything that you feel you are when these situations arise. When you are talking to another person on your planet, you're really just talking to a mirror of yourself. That's what it comes down to. Everything on the Earth is a hall of mirrors. Everything in the galaxy is a hall of mirrors. Everything in the universe is a hall of mirrors. You've been talking to yourself through the rendition of other types of people. Your mother, your father, your brother, your sister, your partner, your children, your grandchildren, your grandparents, your best friend, your boss, your coworker, strangers on the internet, whatever it may be, all reflections of you. Which means the outside has never ever dictated the nature of cause. You will never find the cause to something by looking outwards. You will always find the cause of everything by looking inwards. And that's the nature of life. Everything that makes life what it is came from the inside first. How is a baby born on your planet? Well, does a baby just pop into existence? Does it just pop in externally? No, it grows from inside the mother. So when you're looking at it in this way, where everything pertaining to cause is from within, and not looking at everything outwardly, feeling that that is what's going to give you the answer of truth. You're never going to find the truth outside of yourself. Not possible. Truth is always inward. Just like the birth of the child is inward. Just like the seed that sprouts and becomes something beautiful, a magnificent plant, a magnificent fruit, a magnificent shrub, a magnificent tree. It all starts from its inner growth, its inner development. The same is for you. So when you get worked up about all of these situations that are happening on your planet, vaccinations here, or again, wars here, or political affairs here, or the idea of policing here, or schools here, education here, be aware of what this does to you. What's coming up? What's coming up emotionally? What's coming up mentally? And be aware of that and address it. Because all of these problems that you decide to hold into yourself, every single one of you on this planet has the capability to remedy them all. But you have to be willing to do it. Because that's all part of the Earth curriculum. Regardless of what is happening upon the events of this world, are you able to make peace with everything that's here? Because that's the curriculum. The curriculum is not to feel like you are trailing on and on and on and going into barrages of fights and opinion wars and formulating opinion religions and thinking that it's your way or the highway, or you have to follow this person because they have all the answers. And that's all a bunch of nonsense. This is where you become drained. This is where everything relating to your life force starts to diminish and your physical body slowly begins to deteriorate because you're so obsessed with trying to entertain your emotions and entertain your mentalities that are completely and totally consumed and tainted by conflict, by extremes, by polarities, by constantly shifting the scale. When is the scale ever going to even itself out? Do you even have an intention to do that? Because that's the nature of living through the Earth curriculum. It's to show you these things. It's to be on this world. It's to have, as you would say, this multi-adaptive culture, to have all of this diversity, as it were. And when you realize that everything that you have been doing is fueling the conflict within yourself emotionally and mentally, you now start to draw back and you go within and you now start to make peace with these situations. Everything now starts to come to center. As it comes to center, you realize there is no diversity. There is no multiculturalism. There is nothing that represents the many. There's only the one. And that is understood by one who works with themselves. You see, what we're teaching you here is not complicated. Do you know why there is fight in preventing yourselves to go within? Because you want to win externally. You want to win. You want to be satisfied. You want to achieve desires. You want to achieve those very desires that are eating you alive from within. I need to make more money. I need to be this big, successful tycoon. I need to have this many children in the world. I need to have this particular type of status within my family. I want to go all the way up to the top of the corporate ladder, etc., etc., etc. They become just empty desires. Because once you're there, it doesn't really satisfy you, maybe for about 30 seconds. But you realize you spent all of those years grinding and fighting and clawing your way to this particular desire. Then you finally reach it. What happens? It becomes bittersweet. I did it. I achieved it. Oh, hooray, hooray, hooray. 30 seconds later, okay, what's next? So it's no more different than looking at pain and pleasure. Feeling that you have to go through so much pain to get this much pleasure, and then it just fizzles out. This is why we say that when you only follow desires on this planet, you are not following the curriculum at all. You are following hollow pursuits. Everything that represents your desires are hollow. I need to be the best at this. I need to reach this particular modicum of success, etc. And once you're there, it leaves you like a fleeting shadow. Desires are empty. They are hollow. The only wholesome desire is for you to come into yourself, is for you to feel your peace, to follow that, and to therefore be a living example of a person who can now help others, because those people are drawn to that person. They have followed their heart. They have listened to themselves. They have worked on these situations. They are making peace to these situations. Their mental and emotional levels are now starting to stabilize. Their physical body is now starting to stabilize. Do you believe that the physical, mental, and emotional bodies that you have are going to stabilize by you continuing to battle with the world? Yes? No? No. So why do you do it? It doesn't help you. It doesn't help anybody. If you battle with the world, if you continue to fight because you just want to be right, you want to win. I need to be right. I need to win. I need to be a success. Success and failure are one and the same. Whether you win or lose doesn't matter. It's all the same. Because it's no more different than looking at pride and shame. Are they the opposite of each other? No. They are the source. They are a source to that shamefulness. Where 1 minute you can be full of shame, next moment you're full of pride, and then you jump back down to shame again, and then you jump back up to pride again, and then you fall back down into shame again. Well, that's the idea of victory and defeat. That's the idea of winning or losing. It's all the same. It's all rooted through the same source. It's rooted through suffering. And suffering is rooted by how you react to the world. The Earth curriculum is antithesis to this. It is all about peace, because otherwise you're going to continue to feel like you need to come back again. You need to come back to Earth again because you didn't resolve this, because you didn't resolve that, because you didn't take care of this matter. And it gnaws at you to do it. And you do it. So many of you have come back to the Earth so many times, thinking that I'll be able to leave this world. Nope. You still have an attachment here. You're still attached to money. You're still attached to sex. You're still attached to wanting a family. You're still attached to your career. You're still attached to wanting to be super successful. And you come back, and you come back, and you come back. It is only those who are truly at the peace of mind that leave. Because again, if something attaches you here, nobody is going to argue with that. You're attached to something. You didn't realize it because you were basically leaving this world in conflict. I have so much regret, and then I leave this world. Well, guess what? You're going to yo-yo yourself right back again. Because you will feel within yourself, you want to achieve this. It's an addict who isn't finished with their fix, whatever it may be. And the earth will continue to entertain that, whatever earth you choose. For there are an infinite amount of earths to choose. But if you are able to work with the curriculum of the earth, where it's showing you all of these things to help you understand yourself, and you are making peace with everything that has taken place in your life, because it really doesn't take that long. It's when you're moving much more into the mental plane, when you're looking at what has traumatized you, what has caused you to be harshly triggered to something, and you're willing to work with very simple practices to clean all that up. Then when you're completely and totally clean, you can go wherever you wish. The entire universe is yours. Doesn't have to be Earth. You're only coming back to Earth again and again and again because there's something that is left unfinished to you. You have deemed it to be unfinished. You have deemed it to be incomplete. This is why you talk about people who have left this earth who feel like they need to come back because there's unfinished business. And they do. They go through the cycle of incarnation again, and they incarnate into a mother, and they return. And they try to work out what they feel was incomplete. That may be the idea that they are very prejudiced towards certain people, that they're prejudiced towards women, that they're prejudiced towards other races, that they're prejudiced towards many of these different factors. And they are living that out, often being the very thing that they were prejudiced against. For example, if there is a person who is very, very prejudiced and racist towards someone in the East or the culture of the East, guess what happens? They will incarnate as part of that culture of the East. That's what will happen. If that person, that sense, is all about fighting wars and wanting to start wars and fight, guess what happens? They will be put right into the middle of a war. Because that's the entire nature of the curriculum. Can you make peace with these situations even when you're smack dab in the middle of it? That's the earth curriculum. That's the life curriculum. You will continue to repeat everything that you are in resistance against until you learn to settle, until you learn to center, until you learn to be humble. Because that's what it takes for graduation of the earth curriculum. All right. We thank you very much for this opportunity of interaction. We will now pause at this time and begin your question and answer period shortly. One moment, please. Okay. Thank you very much. So we will go ahead and get into Q&A here very, very shortly. Like I said, I know there's quite a few questions. So like I said, any questions that are semi-personal or general, and again, if you have questions in regards to what Adronis has shared today, please feel free to post that too, because there's no doubt that can bring quite a lot of feedback with what he's shared. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and move into some announcements here. So I'll be back here in just a couple of minutes as we go through the announcements. Here we go.
Radiate Regen Centers are expanding our reach around the world, and we want to give back through our new referral affiliate program. You can earn a large income referring your contacts who would be interested in purchasing Radiate Regen industrial strength technology for commercial business as well as private home use. Spread the word and generate a commission of $360 USD per successful referral. To begin earning today as a referral affiliate, visit radiateregen.com/referral. Private one-to-one sessions have returned with Brad Johnson and Adronis, with appointment times from 30, 45, and 60 minutes online. Offline sessions including the 3 questions by email and distance healing are now available. Book your session now through our website, wisdomtransmissions.com.
Source-enhanced products to repair and rejuvenate the body. From the power of light to crystals to bed kits, card decks, and more. View our free samples, tutorials, and testimonials on our website, AetherX.co.
Get readings with Breanne and be astonished at the depth and accuracy she provides for you through her tarot readings. Breanne can create crystal grids for distance healing, plus offer Reiki and Kundalini attunements. She is also a certified Flying Star Feng Shui consultant. Visit Breanne's website and book your session today at readingswithbreanne.com.
Okay, and we also have Adronis on Patreon, patreon.com/Adronis. So when you sign up there, you'll get a 7-day free trial where you'll be able to get one free classroom experiencing Adronis's teachings. It has really been amazing. This week he's coming up with, he's starting with sharing more about the Akashic Records. So that's going to be really exciting. He's brought about some really great information, the science of telepathy, working together and moving yourself into the right hemisphere of the brain. It has been really exciting. We also have a really great community that's starting to develop there. So again, you can check that out, patreon.com/Adronis. Sign up for your 7-day trial. It is only $18 per month afterwards. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started with our questions today. Also remember to check out Breanne's website, readingswithbreanne.com. She's doing really, really well. She has some amazing videos. And like I said, she is an extremely accurate tarot reader, right? So again, if you guys want tarot and you're looking for someone that really is on the caliber level, I would say of someone like Janine or Isabella, right, who are also very popular throughout the internet, Breanne is right in their league as well too. So check her out, readingswithbreanne.com. So let's go to some questions here. We do have some donation-based questions first. So again, if you do have your donation-based questions, that'll put you in priority sequence. Once I'm done with the donation-based questions, I'll be going back into the list. All right, let's start off here with Key. Hello, Key. Key said, Adronis, did Wade Wilson have a fair trial? What do you think about his death penalty and what will happen to him? Now, Adronis doesn't really elaborate on these types of things, right? So with the idea of a death penalty and what will happen to him, these are things he says, these are just intellectual things he doesn't get involved with, right? I've had people provide similar questions. He just simply won't comment. He will just say anyone who has brought about what they have brought about is a result of their karma. Do they have any particular opportunity to change, transform themselves? Yes, but they've decided not to take it. So Adronis and I both don't focus on personal opinions of people regarding to the life decisions that they've made. This is very much just like what Adronis talked about today, about the Earth curriculum, right? This person, right, if he does receive the death penalty in that sense, he is going to come back again. He's going to come back again because there is no doubt there's regrets, right? And they come back and they go through the Earth curriculum once again. And that's basically all he'll say. I can tell you that word for word, that's what he'll talk about. He says, we're not really interested in giving too much of personal opinions based on what people have decided to experience here in life and the results of their decisions. And that's basically what he'll say. So we don't have an opinion based on that stuff. I don't work with that. Adronis definitely doesn't work with that. We don't work with the personal opinions of others. So I should probably let you guys know that ahead of time. But Keith, thank you again for your question. Okay, this one here is from Ben. Ben's, oh, that's the same thing. Sorry. That's Key again. Let me go get out of that one. Okay, this one's Ben. Okay, so Ben says, greetings, Adronis. Can I ask you about an estimate of how many extraterrestrials are living on and in the Earth right now? All right, well, let's see what Adronis says about that. Okay, it's about an estimate of how many ETs are living on and inside the Earth right now. Interesting question, Ben. Let's see what comes up. Here we go. We thank you very much, Ben. Now we understand that there are many of you who are looking to understand the population of the planet truthfully. Now, we have shared that, yes, it's close to about 8 billion now of beings upon your planet, human beings upon your planet, but some of them are not even human. All right? So if we were to give an estimate of looking at that 8 billion number, and we're really just referring to your surface here. We're not really going to elaborate on the inner workings of civilizations that are within your Earth. That's a little bit off topic right now, all right? But if we're looking in the nature of there being, shall we say, associates on this planet that are not naturally born upon your planet, you would say that approximately 4 to 5% of the world's population are not naturally born on your planet and are not naturally here from your planet. Now, those can range in different factors. Some of them can actually be incarnated here, which means the soul is a traveler and that they bring themselves upon the planet very similar to what you would know as a walk-in. All right. So the idea is that a previous host leaves the physical body and a new host enters that physical body in question. That's one particular example, and there are many of those. Others will relate to the idea of them actually having a physical body that looks just like yours, but they are not born on your planet. So there are some of those. Those are actually much more in smaller numbers. The majority would be very much like what you would know as the walk-in types. All right. So the walk-in types would be of the majority of what we're talking about. But there are those in that sense that look very much like you. But if you actually examine them, even on a deep genetic level, you would discover that quite a few of them have what you would term as 3 to 4 strands of DNA. Which means that they would be triple or quadruple helix beings. And there are those that do walk upon your earth. Now, what about that approximate 4 to 5% of the world's population? Do they have some form of career? Do they work among you? Absolutely. Do they have certain roles in government? Yes. Do they have certain roles in military? Yes. Do they have certain roles in law enforcement? Yes. Do they have other smaller roles, maybe mundane roles, just acting throughout your culture? Yes. All of the above. So, as we have talked about many times before, especially when you are in the major population centers of your planet, your major metropolises, it is not uncommon for those of you to actually walk down the street and you're walking right past an off-worlder. You're walking right past, as you would term, an extraterrestrial. They're all over. And they are very much in concentrated centers of your planet, major metropolises. That's all the point. So those are the ones that we would say are clearly visible. There are also other extraterrestrial beings, yes, that are not visible, that are working in different ways. And they may start to work with, as you would say, the ground crew that are visible. So it all depends. We are aware of 18 different extraterrestrial civilizations that are intermingled with your planet. 18. All right? So that is what we can share regarding that. As we said, we will not comment in regards to the inner civilizations. They simply do not want it known at this time. All right? We thank you for your question. Okay, very fascinating. Thank you very much, Ben, for your question. All right, we'll move on now to the next donation question. This is from Krati. Krati says, Adronis, which crystals can certainly block EMFs, okay, electromagnetic frequencies? There's a little bit of a conundrum with your question, but I'll get Adronis to talk about it a little bit. Okay, one moment. We thank you very much, Krati, for your question. Now, as Brad has shared, there is a bit of a conundrum relating to your question. Crystals do not block EMFs. All right. So when you're looking at crystals and thinking this is going to block an EMF, no. Now, crystals, some crystals will help to clean dirty electromagnetic frequencies. All right. So that's a little bit more different than the idea of blocking because it does not block. Okay. Your own EMF, your electromagnetic frequencies are abundant all around you. You yourself radiate electromagnetic frequencies. You're not going to block your own EMF. So this is what we're talking about here. It's not about blocking. It's about sanitizing. It's about cleaning. All right. And you have several different crystals that you can work with. Malachite is one. Fluorite is another. Smoky quartz is another. Amethyst is another. Jade is another. Agates can also provide this benefit. It just depends in regards to what you feel drawn to. Shungite is another. But they are not blocking fields. They are helping to convert them, transmute them into something much cleaner. So, looking at some of the examples pertaining to those crystals, you may also find a great deal more by investigating crystals a little bit more. But again, all they're doing is they are acting as a type of filter. So, it also depends in regards to how your crystals are arranged. If you simply have a simple tower crystal here, but you don't arrange it in a particular way, its filtration is going to be very limited. Therefore, we would suggest that you start looking into crystal grid transformation, which means you're starting to understand a little bit more about how crystal grids work, because you can take those varieties of crystal, your smoky quartz, your malachite, your amethyst, your fluorite, etc., and putting them together in a harmonized grid so that they all interconnect with one another, so that you're basically creating a circuit. And then you're running your own energy through those crystals. You're just putting your hands on those crystals and just holding them and just breathing in and breathing out. Now your signature is on those crystals. And that too will bring about a harmonized benefit to yourself energetically. So not only looking at the crystals that can help to clean EMF, but also ones that you can put together in a grid fashion and working with your own energy to bring that beneficial frequency into you and into your frequencies that are here, to which makes your body a lot more optimal in functionality. All right. We thank you very much. Okay. Thank you very much, Krati, for your question. All right, so we will now go back to the other. I just had those 3 donation-based questions. Okay, so if you do have other ones, anyone here, then I'll be sure to go to them. Okay, let's go to Kamal here. So Kamal says, question, can Adronis talk on what causes knee joint issues among ladies and how to heal them? Okay, so guys, we really don't try to look at these things pertaining to gender. Okay, we're looking at this through the human form. Okay. Men and women both get crippling knee joint issues. Okay, it's not a woman thing, it's not a man thing, it's a human thing. Okay, it's basically just part of our biology. So when Adronis comes in, he wants to include both genders. Okay, this is not about, oh, this is for women or this is for men. Only if there's certain things that, of course, a woman can do, then he'll talk about that. But men and women are both susceptible to knee joint issues. Okay, so we're going to talk about that through both genders. All right, so let me go ahead and bring Adronis in and he can talk about that. We thank you very much, Kamal. Now again, your question is a little bit unsteady because the whole idea is that knee joint issues can happen in many different ways. Some of you can tear ACLs because you are very much into track and field, because you're very much into sports. And if that tear becomes consistent, that will be a continuous knee injury. Some of you in that sense also sleep improperly. You also sit improperly. You also walk improperly. And that too can take a toll on your knee joints. The food that you eat that may be processed, and again, that does not have a great deal of nutrition, is not feeding the appropriate collagen levels for your body to maintain an optimal state pertaining to joint wellness. And that can take an issue because there is a degradation in regards to the essential minerals and compounds within your body that your body requires to enable the joint in question, such as the knees, to become optimal. It's much more susceptible to tear. It's much more susceptible to injury. Many of these things can also be of a karmic nature, that the energies of your own space that are not sanitized can lead to certain injuries, to trips, to fall, to the idea of applied injuries as well too. So knee injuries are quite common through both genders, yes, and they can happen in many different ways. Now, the second part of your question is, what can we do to heal them? Well, you can nurse that particular injury back to health. First of all, you want to firstly stay off your feet for a little bit. And again, it depends on the type of healing that you want to have upon the knee. There are surgeries that can help. There are compounds that can help. There, again, the idea of bringing more collagen into your body so that the collagen itself can now start to work together and repair the injuries relating to joint stiffness or, again, relating to knee-based injuries. There's also energetic healing that you can perform. Radiate that Brad has created can also assist in the repairing of the knee. Going into certain forms of energy healing modalities, Reiki, Qigong, for example, can also help to stimulate the cells, bringing about charge, helping to regrow and transform and heal the areas of the knee joint that are compromised. It all just depends. So again, as you're improving the cartilage, as you're improving the collagen within the body, that certainly does help. It does not have to be all meat-based. In fact, you can find many of the effects of healing joints just by looking into high mineral-rich foods. All right, your moringa powder, your Irish sea moss. These are examples of high mineralized content that you're putting in your body that the body uses because the minerals themselves can be shifted into appropriate compounds that enable the immune system and the cells of your body to help regenerate wounds. It doesn't just have to focus on the knee. Everything that we're talking about can relate to every single joint in your body. Whether you have problems with your wrists, whether you have problems with your elbows, problems with your shoulder blades, problems with your spine, problems with your hips, problems with your knees, problems with your ankles, problems with your toes, whatever it may be. You have everything within your body that has the capability to regenerate if you take care of it. If you mineralize your body, if you oxygenate your body, you are giving it the essential amount of prana it requires to replenish itself. The body is extremely intelligent, but it needs you to cooperate with it. So anything pertaining to joint injuries can be sufficiently healed if there's a maturity with yourself to enable in their healing, be it through a change in diet, be it through the idea of the ingestible compounds that will assist in the repair of the wound, whether it again may represent the idea of you following energy healing path that can also assist in the healing of the wound. Doesn't have to be with joints either. It can be pertaining to any other form of injury in the body, because that is how powerful your body works. And it can work wonderfully if you cooperate with it. All right? We thank you for your question. Okay, thank you, Kamal, for your question. Okay, let's see. So I'm just going to go down the list a little bit more here. Okay. Okay, here's another follow-up from Krati. Also, should we wrap crystals with copper wire to protect ourselves from radiation? So again, this isn't to Adronis. I have found great benefits in doing that you're working together with copper wire, because like I said, it's kind of like you're creating a battery. Now, one of my recommendations, and whether you decide to wrap copper around it or not is up to you, but my recommendation for the most efficient type of crystal is a Vogo crystal, okay? Vogo crystals are pretty much the most efficient and optimized type of crystal that you will find on the entire planet. And this was all created by Marcel Vogo. I don't have my Vogo crystal here. I think it's still packed somewhere. But basically you look at it and it kind of looks like the Kabbalah, right? The tree of life. And it is cut in a certain way where its effects are phenomenal, where you're basically just putting the power of thought directly into the crystal as it acts as a computer, and it will perform incredible states of healing because of how it's oriented. And it also has a lot of scientific backing with it. You don't really need to wrap that in a copper wire. If you choose to, that's fine. But copper wire, again, just represents a very strong pranic amplifier and a pranic conductor. Okay, so if you decide to do that, maybe you're building a device where you want to bring about that powerful type of pranic healing, and you're utilizing the nature of wrapping a Vogel crystal in copper wire and applying it into the apparatus. That could be something really, really good, right? So copper wire is a good conductor pertaining to prana, so it can be helpful. It just depends in regards to what you want to make. I know, guys, some of these questions are a little bit vague, right? If it helps a little bit more to see exactly what you're looking to do, what you're looking to apply, what you're looking to make, right? That way I can answer a little bit more appropriately. But I know we only have so many characters that we can put in the chat here. But yes, if you do decide to use copper wire implementation together with the crystal, it can be quite beneficial because copper is that natural conductor and inductor of pranic energy. Okay, so it can be very beneficial. Thank you, Krati. Okay. Let's go down a little bit more. Okay. Okay, this is from Shumbra, 1946. They say, hi from London. Would be interested to hear how countries are going to solve the immigration crisis that is causing problems not only in the US, but a serious problem in Europe and UK. I've already really talked about this, okay? And what I've shared is that the current administrations, and like I said, this is all part of the Earth curriculum, as Adronis talks about, but basically the current administrations that are running these particular governments are all for that particular agenda that's taking place. People have to see exactly what's happening, right? When there's a lot more things that are happening and people are becoming a lot more aware of it, that's the last thing they want, really. The whole idea is that you're becoming educated and you're becoming informed relating to these types of agendas that they're trying to pull off. So by you being informed, that means that they're pretty much already defeated. Okay. So what it is that people become educated, they start to spread the word about this, they start to talk about this a lot more, and it creates a revolt, right? And that revolt is very much what's going to be the result of a lot of these agendas being taken down. It's as I've talked about a great deal, maybe you're new to the channel, if you are, hello. But as I've talked about a great deal on the channel is that once a lot of these things start to get exposed, then through tragedy comes unity. And there's going to be a lot of shifts that are taking place. Now, I've looked a little bit more deeper into this immigration agenda. It's not going to last, but it needs to kind of make its point. It needs to establish itself, and it's going to continue to heat up, right? This whole agenda regarding immigration, and basically this isn't really about immigration. Immigration isn't the right word, right? When we're looking at immigration, we're basically looking at legal ways of coming into the country. This is not immigration, this is invasion, okay? So what we want to do is you want to take out the immigration word and you want to put in invasion instead, okay? Because that's what this is. This has nothing to do with immigration, right? This has everything to do with a lot of criminals, with a lot of people that have, well, tremendous issues, I guess you could say, part of the dirty player agenda that are coming in and just trying to wreak havoc because they're trying to support a lot of the other agendas that the dirty players are trying to bring out. And these are kind of like their foot soldiers, right? So as this starts to get well known, the administration is going to be exposed because it's going to be undeniable. The people are going to stand up. There's going to be counter actions relating to these actions of them running amok. And it's going to lead into the development of new administration taking all of that out of the country. So as much as there has been an invasion, there's going to be a deportation at the same time. And this is what I've been seeing as we get more into 2025, perhaps even 2026. This is going to be, there's going to be a massive deportation scenario that's going to happen. But it's not really appropriate to look at this as immigration because it's not. This is invasion, right? And this is invasion of criminal cartels coming into countries, trying to wreak havoc, trying to basically be the foot soldiers for the dirty players. People will start to find out about this and they will create counter protests. They will create counter actions. Why? Because it's counter force. Right? I've asked Adronis about these whole things that are coming up, and he says this is really, really good This is great that these things are coming up. And so why is that? Because now it's being revealed to the public. All of this is being exposed. Nothing is behind hidden doors anymore. This is a wonderful thing that's happening. This whole decade is a cleanup decade. You are going to find mischief. You are going to find mayhem. You are going to find malarkey. You're going to find all of these things that are just hideous and grotesque. But at the same time, it's being exposed to a worldwide audience, right? We have the internet, and we have millions and millions and millions of people looking at this, and then they're going to tell millions and millions and millions of people about this, and there's going to be counteractions to this. This is a wonderful thing, right? If this was behind closed doors and nobody was able to access it, it wouldn't be so wonderful. But because this is being exposed to the public, because this is being exposed on a much more larger level, it's going to lead to a great resolve so that these agendas can't happen again. They only have one shot, right? Some people are so scared about, again, I can't really talk about it because it's YouTube, right? About the hokey pokey again, right? About that particular type of agenda happening again. And I said, it's not. It's not going to take place because, like I said, we've learned a lot from the last one. And so many people have woken up because of that particular agenda surrounding the hokey pokey. And if they try to do the hokey pokey and turn themselves around again, well, then what it's all about is them being busted, is them being taken down. Like I said, they will never do the same thing twice. It has to be different, right? So people are awakening by leaps and bounds. And when you start to tune in, you start to go within, you start to tune into the higher centers, right? Starting with the right brain, and you tune into the earth, you can see this. There are billions of people waking up right now. It's remarkable. Have you guys felt it? Am I the only one that's felt it here? I hope not. I would love to see you guys comment. I said, Brad, yes, I have. I've tuned into the earth. I'm seeing humanity transformed by leaps and bounds. I'm seeing more people starting to take action. And they may start off angry, and that's primarily how it's going to be. But it's going to transform into resolve. So I hope I'm not the only one seeing that, because I've seen this for a very long time, for years. So again, even though all these things are happening, it's a great thing because it's coming to the public, right? This is all being publicly exposed. And like I said, it is kind of a hokey pokey three-ring circus situation, but it's doing that for a reason. This is all part of a coming of age ceremony. It's the idea of people starting to mature, starting to wake up, starting no longer to keep their heads buried in the sand, seeing what's going on and taking action because they've had enough. And we're seeing that by the millions right now. Okay, let's go to Caroline. Caroline says, hi, Brad. Congratulations on moving to your new home. Yeah, we love it. It's a great place here. This question is for Adronis. What would be some healthy foods to eat and things to do to maintain a healthy pregnancy? Caroline, that's a very difficult question because it's so personable, right? It's very subjective to people. If Adronis says anything about doing this, another pregnant mother will say, oh, I can't do that, right? So really the whole idea is that this needs to be more personable, needs to be more subjective. To the mother themselves, right? And that's tuning into the mother. So this actually becomes a little bit more of a personal question, right? And like I said, we don't do personal questions on this channel right now. So that's why it's a bit different. We really don't have a broad answer for all mothers to take in and being able to say, okay, do this. And then some other will say, no, I can't do that. Can't do this, not possible, right? I'm not going to do that because I don't like this. So this is why I say that question is pretty much impossible to answer on a broad level, okay? Other than the question of just take care of yourself, okay? So maybe that's something that all mothers can work with. Just take care of yourself. Listen to your body, right? That can be something. There's the most general term we can give. But if you're asking for this question about you being pregnant, if you are pregnant, for example, of healthy foods to live, well, we'd have to do a scan on you. We would have to scan your energy. We'd have to look into that a little bit more, and we can find out exactly what's more susceptible for you to be beneficial in you eating, because you have a certain body type, because you have certain conditions within your body that need to be addressed. So this is why I say it is basically impossible to answer that question on a general level. Okay, if that's something that you want to ask a little bit more, maybe sign up to Adronis Patreon, do a private session with me. We could talk a little bit more. But it kind of puts me in a rock and a hard place because I can't answer that. Can't answer that on a generic level. Okay. But thank you for the question anyways. Okay, let's go down a bit more. This one here is from Carol Ann. Carol Ann says, "Hi, Brad. I had a question for Adronis regarding a dream I had. I had a dream I was driving and ready to go into a tunnel." Okay, so this is personal questions, Carol Ann. Okay, so I'm trying to remind you guys, please don't bring about personal questions. I'm not going to answer them. Okay, semi-personal or general in nature. Okay, that's it. You gotta remember to try and ignore those questions if those come up. Okay. Okay, Jan says, "Hi Brad, a question. Can Adronis say who built the statues of Easter Island in Chile?" Thank you very much. One moment. We thank you very much. We would say the tribes of Easter Island built them. Simple as that. Do you believe that they are extraterrestrial descent? They're not. Right? They basically do have gods, as you would say, and those gods would be of extraterrestrial origin. But in regards to how they are carved, there is a geometric harmonic there. Now, Easter Island basically is what you would know as a type of treasury, and the treasures are being protected. So basically, those particular statues that you find upon Easter Island are guardians. All right. And they basically radiate a poisonous frequency. This is why when people who have come to Easter Island in the past have actually left Easter Island feeling very unwell. It's because of those statues. They are protecting something, which means the closer and the deeper you go, the more of that subtle radiation will bombard you. There is an underground installation at the bottom of Easter Island, and this is under protection. We cannot really elaborate on this further because this is for your future. All right. This really is not for your current generation. These are for generations down the road who are understanding a little bit more about vibratory science. But the Easter Island, you call them heads, but they're not really heads. They are actually full bodies. And they were created by the tribes at that time. And they again had the knowledge to create the tribes in this way, because if you're looking at the geometry of it, you realize that there is a harmonic there, like a crystal. And they have basically applied vibrations through these particular statues that are protecting the land from invaders. So it's not really for your current generation to know a little bit more about Easter Island, because there are indeed treasures underneath the soil that you do not currently have access to, not until you start to understand more of the nature of vibratory science. It is for your future generations to unearth further. All right? We thank you. Okay. Now that is very true. Now again, some of you may not know what I'm talking about, but if you follow certain things like radiesthesia or even biogeometry, or again, just the ancient occult science that talks about the nature of vibration, basically those Easter Island statues contain a tremendous amount of vertical negative green vibration. Okay. This is exactly what I discovered when I was cleaning Stonehenge last summer. Okay. When I was in Stonehenge, it was horrifying. It was like going to a biohazard site. Okay. So all the people that went to Stonehenge before that, basically were being susceptible to a great deal of subtle radiation. Not because that was deliberate, but because of everything that represented the tampering of Stonehenge was basically made in that way, where there was just vertical negative green just spewing all over the place. So that's a different story. But looking at the Easter Island, this is more deliberate. Okay, so they're basically utilizing that as a protection. Okay, and it wouldn't surprise me if we're looking back at Oak Island, which is off the coast of Eastern Canada, right? There's been a lot of talk about Oak Island. And Oak Island also has certain traps, so to speak, that represent that vertical negative green vibration. Okay, so I know exactly what these things are about. And like I said, the world needs to be caught up in looking into the nature of vibrational science, because we have the science there. It's through radiesthesia. It's through biogeometry. It's through ancient occult science. A lot of that ancient alchemy as well, too, talks about the nature of subtle vibrations and how there can be poisonous frequencies in that way. And that is very much what's happened on Easter Island. And from what Adronis is saying, this is for future generations. This is not for our current generation, right? It's going to be coming. It'll come to a time where humanity will start looking a lot more into the nature of subtle vibrations and how those subtle vibrations work and how we can counteract those subtle vibrations so that these particular treasures that are kept under Easter Island can be accessed to humanity. We don't know exactly what they are, but there's basically a treasury contained underneath Easter Island for the humans of the future. So that's what can be shared about that. Okay, thank you, Jen. Okay, let's go down a little bit more. Okay, here's an interesting question here from Aquasandra. She says, Adronis, I heard some animals' genetics are created and brought from other planets like cats or dolphins. How does this coexist with our theory and proofs of evolution? Okay, very good question. Let's go ahead and bring Adronis in. He can talk about this. We thank you very much, Aquasandra, for your question. Now, you have to understand that everything that is on the earth was seeded here. All right. So basically, you have to understand that as we have talked about, that earth represents a living library. A living library where there are, as you would say, countless seeds. There are still seeds upon the earth that have not yet been, shall we say, cultivated yet. There's even more life forms that are contained within the living library of the earth that have not even shown themselves yet. So you are looking at a very broad program relating to the earth, for she contains a phenomenal living library database that you will really not find on any other planet. So if you're looking at through the examples that you have given, your cats, yes, your dolphins, is it true that they came from elsewhere? Well, yes and no. The idea of their unique configuration is indigenous to the earth, but their seed is universal. All right, that is really how we can put it. When you're looking at different life forms on other planets, and this is beyond many of you right now because you have no other frame of reference than your own planet. There's been nothing publicly that will tell you exactly how life on other planets are emerging because they're still trying to keep the shadow that you're alone in the universe. And that's not the case. So we're sharing this with you because it's going to help you to understand that in your future generations, what we're talking about is going to be commonplace. We are telling you things that is not in your textbooks. We are telling you things that your experts do not know. So this is why, again, we're just giving you perspective. So again, as we've stated, everything we share is our perspective, our point of view. All right? So there's the disclaimer first. When you have seeds of life that represent the idea of cats, dolphins, whales, mammals, amphibians, reptiles, etc., and you place them on a particular world, there will always be some type of rendition and variation of that particular genome appropriate to the biosphere of that world. Do you understand? So, for example, you may discover that one day down the road, you're able to connect to a super Earth. Maybe let's just say there's a super Earth a few light years ahead, and you're able to get a lot more scientific understanding about that world because the public is now being aware of much of the life forms upon that planet. Then you suddenly notice that as you zoom in so deeply into the planet, that you're exploring a particular animal. You're exploring a snake. And that snake is much more purplish pink in hue. Its scales appear a lot more thicker. In fact, it looks like it has a double tail instead of a single tail. Well, this can happen. Why? Because it is a shape harmonic of a genome that is appropriate to the habitation of the biosphere to which it occupies. Do you understand? So this is the idea, that you will look at different animals on other planets, and you will notice that they will have somewhat different configurations depending upon the energetic integrity of the biosphere. The configuration of life needs to match the harmonic of the biosphere that hosts them. So that's the idea between this world and another world that you could compare. For instance, again, you may start to see a little squirrel going up in a tree, and you know that its ears are much longer. Its tail is much thinner and longer, but it does resemble that of a squirrel. Its pigmentation would be much more of a whitish silver. Oh, wow, this is quite fascinating. It kind of looks like a squirrel, but it has these alterations. Why? Because it's appropriate for the biosphere. So, when you look at what you term your evolution, it is incorrect. Where the idea of everything just naturally evolves. No, it doesn't. That is incorrect. The whole idea is everything is engineering. Everything pertaining to life and its growth comes through engineering, not evolution. Evolution truly is the adaptation of the soul experience through life. But it is not particularly referring to how you explain evolution, because it is quite contradictory. When you have the two founders, who were basically the founders of DNA upon your planet, they had very different views from each other. So it wasn't so much in looking into the idea of feeling that your own evolutionary theory is evolutionary fact, because it's not. It's flawed. So that is not how evolution works. Everything pertaining to life forms is engineered. It is engineering that's taking place. You have the ability to engineer your own body, but much in regards to a lot of the flora and the fauna, the essential animal kingdom that assists in the balancing of the planet is always going through engineered change. Always. And that applies to your planet. So it is not about looking into the idea that birds descended from dinosaurs. That is a lie. They did not. Dinosaurs are their own genome. So again, a dinosaur is its own animal. It did not descend from birds. Humankind did not descend from apes. That is a lie. You have certain facets of other life forms that contributed in your creation, but it would not be appropriate to say that you descended from a particular animal. That's wrong. So again, this is why we're saying that your impression of what you believe evolution to be is wrong. So there are many of you on the internet that talk about how Darwin was wrong. He was. He was not correct in the least. So the whole idea of evolution needs a rebuffering. There is indeed evolution, but evolution represents the nature of engineering. It is engineering, it is advancement. It is how you are furthering yourself through a conduit, through an instrument. But when you're looking at other species on different planets, they hold a very different pattern that you would not be familiar with today, because it's based upon the engineering principle of creating equilibrium appropriate to the sustaining of life through the biosphere in question that hosts those particular life forms. So perhaps this is something we will discuss in greater length at some particular time, but that is the nature of how civilizations and even their own animal culture, flora, fauna culture exist on other worlds. You will always find differences. It's appropriate for this planet because of its, shall we say, multifaceted nature as a living library to host many different creatures, and you will not find the amount of life on this planet on others. That's how rare the Earth is. But you will find life. And it may look quite different from what you understand life to be, because you're only utilizing your own planet as a reference. You still have no idea how far you have to go to understand exactly how the universe works, because very few of you are actually correct about it. All right? We thank you for your question. Okay. That's true, guys. We don't have another planet where we can compare life forms, right? If there's another Earth, several light years away, and we're able to access that and connect with it and find different creatures on it, you'll notice there'll be a lot of differences. So, like I said, that's something that humanity needs to explore. Definitely. Very exciting. So again, Aqua Sandra, great question. Thank you very much for sharing that. We got about 10 minutes left, so we'll probably take about 1 or 2 more questions left to go here. Okay, so this one here is from Reba. Reba says, hi, Brad and Adronis. Many are saying that the darkness won't be eliminated in our lifetime. What is your perspective, please? Guys, it's not about eliminating darkness, okay? So when you basically have a person that says that, with all due respect, they have no idea what they're talking about, okay? Guys, this is not about eliminating darkness. Your darkness is always going to be with you. Do you think that this is just going to turn into the light? No. Doesn't work that way. You're looking at the yin and the yang, okay? The dark and the light are going to have an eternal relationship with each other. The darkness will never extinguish. If it does, you have imbalance. The light will never extinguish. If it does, you have imbalance. This is not about the light and the dark, one overtaking the other. Doesn't work that way. Never has worked that way. It is a balance. Okay, so it's yin and yang, and it's always circling each other. They're always revolving around each other. They're always moving in each other's rhythms. Okay, but you are never going to have the idea where the light overtakes the dark or the dark overtakes the light. Okay, everything works together in the degrees of balance. So when you're thinking that people are saying that, oh, yeah, well, darkness is not going to be eliminated in this lifetime, well, you're right, because it's never been eliminated. It's never been eliminated. It is all part of life. The darkness is just as important as the light, and vice versa. Okay? This is not about the idea of this new age concept of then just go into the light, go into the light, go into. You can't just go into the light. You have to look at your darkness first. That's all part of it. Does a seed not go into the darkness when it is planted? And does it not cultivate itself within that darkness? And then at some particular point, it sprouts out and becomes exposed to the light. Well, with the example of that seed, that is exactly how we work. Okay? You need the darkness. Okay? The darkness is not something that you're just going to extinguish. It's horrible. It's awful. Then you're looking at these things from a completely imbalanced perspective. Right? The person that says, oh, we need to completely terminate the darkness is lost and confused. And the people that also say, oh, we're not going to be able to eliminate the darkness in this lifetime is also lost and confused. Okay? This is about equilibrium. This is about harmony. This is about balance. What we are seeing here on the earth is the idea of that mutual exchange of balance between the dark and the light. One does not overtake another. Okay? It may seem that in certain situations, but it's not. There will always be a perfect balance, and it's a delicate balance between the dark and the light, and the universe's job is to maintain that. That's the purpose of the entire universe that governs all form of life within its construct. Right? It is never going to say, oh, okay, we're going to get rid of the darkness now. No. That darkness is very much a part of it, very much a part of life. That's how we grow. That's how we learn. If we look at the archetypes in regards to the nature of darkness, right, we're not just seeing the nature of pitch blackness, but we're seeing the idea of helping ourselves to grow. That when we're in the darkness, we go within. We now start to see exactly what we've been cultivating, and now we change. We felt that maybe even ourselves, we've swayed a little bit more into the darkness, but it always comes back into the light. Right? That's the fine balance that exists throughout everything within the entire universe. So you are not getting rid of the darkness. You are not getting rid of the light. Can't do it. It will always be a fine, delicate balance between the two that represents the one. Okay? Thank you for your question. Okay, let's see. Okay. So this one is a question about radiate. I guess I'll take it very quick, but I'm going to take another question real quickly. So Llama just asked about radiate. I want to ask one thing. I have the premium version running at night on my laptop in the room, full brightness. And am I able to put a blanket over it? No, please don't. Okay. If you can't handle it at night, then what I would suggest is that you basically try to move it around, move it away from you a little bit, right? I have 4 big screens broadcasting radiate regen at night. And sometimes I just want to have darkness in my room and I'll turn them off. It's okay. And then I'll put it back on in the morning. That's fine. If you feel that you can't handle the light, there's nothing wrong with turning it off. Okay. But don't put a blanket over it or anything like that nature. That's not what we're doing here. So again, like I said, if it's in your energy fields, if it's within that 4 to 6 foot range, you should be okay, right? If you're like putting it in your pocket or anything like that. But if it's further than that, try to keep the light on. Okay. If it's about 10 feet away from you, try to keep the light on if you can. If it's too much, turn it off, work with it the next morning, okay? But if it's a great distance away from you and you want to put a blanket over you, don't, right? That's just not the way it is. That light is the nourishing light. When you're working with radiate, that is radiating that biomagnetic light to you. That light contains all the goodness of all of those codes. And if it's further away from you and you're putting a blanket or a wall or something of that nature, a divider with it, you might as well just turn it off. Okay. So stay with the light if you can handle it. If you can't handle it, turn it off. Turn it off. Use it the next morning. Maybe have it on for like an hour or 2 before you go to bed and then turn it off. If you want to do that, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with turning off radiate if you can't handle the light. Okay. But try to keep it on. Try to keep it on the brightest settings possible because that's what's distributing the biomagnetic light to helping you get well. Okay. That's what I can suggest on that. Okay, so we got about 1 or 2. We can do about 1 or 2 more questions. Let's see here. Okay, I'm just taking a moment here, guys. Okay, there's a quick question here from Terry about, oh, sorry, that's not the right one. It's this one from Posthuman 3, sorry. Is Earth 1 out of 12 genetic libraries? Well, what are the other 12? What are the other 11, I should say, right? I'm not aware of 11 other libraries, okay? So I'm aware of Earth being the living library. I would ask that person, where's the other 11? Can you show me the other 11? Okay. From what I know, basically Earth would be the most profound living library in this universe. There may be others, but I have not received any information in regards to that, right? Basically, the type of living library that is on Earth is such a rare and precious gem, okay? I'm not aware of any other planet that has been shared with me through Adronis or any other contact that I have that has the richest of a library like what Earth has. The richness of this library is very unique to the Earth. I have not heard of any others like it. So I couldn't comment on that, right? I'm not aware of 11 other libraries that have that. I'm only aware of this one, okay? Let's see. Okay, I think we're going to end with this last question here. Okay, this is from Gail. Gail says, when will the Earth be a non-parasitic planet? When will sentient life be self-sustaining on energy instead of lust? I guess you mean lust. And trading human organs and the A blood substance when people grow up? That's the answer, Gail. Okay, when people grow up. When you start to realize the preciousness of life. When the collective starts to realize that. Okay. We're about to go into an Earth that is almost going to be unidentifiable. Okay, that's really where we're going. This decade is a cleanup decade. Okay, it needs a lot of sanitation. Okay, it's basically like we're looking at a place that's just covered in raw sewage. Okay, and it's being cleaned up, and it's going to need some cleanup, and it's going to need some continual cleanup as well too. As we go into the 2030s, yeah, I got it, Gail, that you were talking about lust. That's fine. As we're going into the 2030s, that is much more of a time of renewal, right? Adronis would talk about 2025 to 2036 being a span of renewal, right? There's the earlier span of renewal, which means it's starting to take shape based on a lot of the cleanup that we're doing right now. Okay. And then as we get into the latter half of that, moving into 2030 to 2036, there's, how can I explain it? It is a very different world. It's not at all like what we're living in right now. Like even the 2020s, how it's been right now, it's been a very different Earth than what we can relate to the 2010s and to the 2000s, to the 1990s, etc. A very different Earth from what we can understand, because it feels like everybody's just crazy about politicians. Everybody's crazy about politics, right? We had the world shut down for a couple of years. That's never happened in this generation's history, right? That's looking at a whole new Earth, right? If I was to go back in time and go back into the year 2001 and tell a bunch of people about what's happening in 2020 to 2023, well, you know, this entire world is going to lock down. You're not going to be able to go to grocery stores. You're not going to be able to go to restaurants. Everything's going to be like, oh, this guy's completely out of his mind. This guy's nuts. This guy's a lunatic. Why, they're going to shut everything down because of a little needle? Yep. What a bunch of BS. This is crazy, right? Well, there you go. That's what I'm talking about. You could go back a couple of decades in time and tell people exactly what's happened here in the early 2020s. Hardly anybody would believe you. Okay, so this is kind of where my dilemma is. If I'm telling you guys about the 2030s and the 2040s, that it's going to be a very different Earth where pretty much everything relating to corruption is going to be gone. Bro, you're full of crap. You're full of crap. There's no way that's going to happen. There's no way we're going to be rid of this corruption. There's going to be no way that we're rid of these politicians. You see what I mean? You won't accept it because you're only familiar with this Earth, with what you are aware of now. If I tell you in the 2030s and the 2040s that things are going to be cleaning up a lot more, there's going to be less and less of that corruption that's going to die out, and we're actually going to start prospering as a humanity. We're going to start working together. Leaders are going to start sharing resources together a lot more fruitfully. There's going to be much more fruitful abundance and innovation, and young children are going to be responsible for space travel and spacefaring civilization and incredible inventions that will start moving us into abundant energy without end. Breanne, you're full of crap. What about this? What about this dystopia? What about this totalitarianism that we're going through? You're telling me that that doesn't exist? That's exactly what I'm telling you. You're full of it, right? Well, there you go. You see the dilemma there is, because you have to see it for yourself, because this is what I've tuned into and this is what I've seen. I've seen an Earth that literally becomes a paradise. We will actually start to treat Earth well. We will actually start to know our role, know our responsibility, and it's going to change. Money will eventually fade out. Money is not going to be lasting too much longer. I don't think it'll last anywhere past this century, right? So that's going to go, right? The idea of national borders is going to go. The idea of countries unifying with themselves, becoming something even greater, is going to happen. The idea of food supplies that are going to be so abundant, there will be no such thing as processed foods anymore. There will be no such things as corporations owning things, food supplies and everything, right? All of that's going to be dissolved. Oh, come on, Brad, you're full of crap. You're so full of crap. But this is what I've seen. This is what I've felt. And that's all I can do with you guys, is give you a perspective. You ask, and this is what I give, right? So sentient life be self-sustaining? Yes, absolutely. Will there be a lot of lust energy? Well, there still will be some challenges with that, but people are going to start realizing the betterment of themselves. We still have a long way to go, right? For us to completely get over carnal desires is probably going to take at least a millennium, at least 1,000 years, right? So that's going to still continue to happen, right? Trading human organs, all of that's going to go, because the underground is going to go. Everything regarding a deep state is going to be completely and totally dissolved. And I can see that happening within the next decade or two. Come on, you're full of crap. Right? So again, this is like the situation. If I'm going back in time to 2001 and trying to tell somebody exactly what happens in the 2020s, they will think I've lost my mind. If any of you try to do that, right, they will think that you've lost your mind. They need to call a nut house. This guy thinks this whole world's going to shut down. This girl over here thinks that this whole world's going to shut down. These people over here think this whole world is going to shut down in 2020s because of a stupid needle. because of some stupid virus. They're out of their mind. They're insane. They're completely insane. You guys are completely insane. That's exactly what they would say to you. So if I'm telling you this, it wouldn't surprise me if I'm getting a similar response. Maybe some of you have felt it the same way I have, right? Even back then, there may have been some people that were feeling that the earth would be shut down, that the whole world, the whole human world would be shut down for a bit of a time. We may have felt that, right? But not the majority, okay? So, like I said, this is where I'm coming from. It is going to be a very different planet when we start looking into the 2030s and the 2040s. It is going to be the benchmark of cleaning this planet up, where pollution will be a thing of the past, where war will be a thing of the past, where poverty will be a thing of the past. It really is the Star Trek future. And I mean that, guys. That's where we're going, right? You're ending war, you're ending poverty. Gene Roddenberry knew these things. That's why he was such the visionary that he was. He could see this happening. I've seen it too, right? And so it's a beautiful world that we're going to be going into. But right now, we're just kind of kicking through the sludge, because that's what 2020s represent. It's a cleanup decade. It's a decade to clean this place up. And we are doing it. It doesn't look like we're doing it, but maybe we are. We are cleaning up a lot of stuff behind the scenes. There is so much ugliness that was supposed to be here in the early 2020s. Thank God it wasn't. Okay, because you would be looking at transhumanism agendas that would have been so unbelievably horrifying. You would have looked in the idea of what they're originally planning to do with the hokey pokey that would have been so incredibly terrifying that you just wouldn't believe it. And a lot of those things have been averted. We have averted truly horrible things from happening, right? They basically, in that sense, have tried to develop chimeras. They've tried to develop hybrids, and basically using those in armies. They were trying to create a clone of Jesus and bringing that out. And that would have been religious wars on top of religious wars. All of that's been averted. There's been so much stuff that has been averted here. We're actually doing a good job, my friends. But take that for what it's worth. Like I said, as Adronis and I share, we're just sharing perspective. All right. So Gail, again, thank you very much for your question. Appreciate it. We're out of time for today, guys. So thank you for all of your questions. Again, I'll be back tomorrow for Rumble on the signposts, and we'll probably have more of these kind of conversations. So I'm looking forward to tomorrow. That'll be starting tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Pacific. This evening, I will be putting up the link to the webcast on the YouTube posts here, so you can check that out. Thank you for joining me, everybody, today. Looking forward to talking to you tomorrow. Blessings to you all. Namaskar. May it be well with you, and take care.